As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elsmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett, and I am here as always with my co-host Andy. How are you on this Monday lunchtime?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a different day. We normally do this on Friday, but here we are doing it on a Monday. Monday seems to be the default. You'd think Monday would be a really good day to do this podcast, but Friday, it just ain't the same. Fridays are the one, really.
Yeah, but it's strange, isn't it? I must apologise for the lateness of the pod this week. I have been off this weekend trading at a Volkswagen show up in Lincolnshire, up near Skegness, in a place called Revesby. Show called Viva Skeg Vegas VW, which is brilliant. It's a really good show run by a mate Toby and Sal, and it just gets better and better every year. And I was trading up there, selling my wares to people at the show, and it was a really good weekend. I have got nice and burnt, and I look like a lobster this morning because it was just blazing sun all day, and obviously we're sat outside all day with no cloud. But yeah, it was good. We were supposed to record Thursday, weren't we? But yeah, I was just I ended up finishing. We were leaving at 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday to travel up to the show, and I finished work at 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday night / Friday morning.
When you text me saying I can't do Thursday, I'm so sorry. I'd totally forgotten anyway. So I was like, don't worry about it, mate. Don't worry about it. It's totally fine. I was like, I don't know even what I was doing. I was out with friends or something. I was like, oh God, sorry, mate.
Brilliant. Oh, okay. So even though I was worrying that I wasn't going to finish work in time, we wouldn't have done it anyway. But there we go.
Mate. So good. Was it like a trade show or a festival, or was it a bit of both, or what was it that you were doing?
So it was basically a Volkswagen show. So it's a weekend of show cars, people camping, and then there's traders all in the trading area. So there's a swap meet area where they sell all secondhand parts for cars and all that sort of things, and bits and bobs and bric and brac. And then there's a whole trader village as well, where you've got all the food stands, but then traders selling new stuff, and that can be new car parts, but it's also like clothing and bits and bobs. But where I was, rather than moving my bus every single night to get back to where I'm camped with all of my mates, I just set up my bus as my trade stall. So I sleep in it at night and put all my stuff in boxes up at the side of the bus, and then in the morning move my bed out, and then I've got a table which I set up outside, and then I use the back of my bus as like a table as well, so people can have a look at everything.
So no problems with the bus? Did everything go swimmingly? Was it a nice and easy run? Because people might not know about you that you're the owner of this legendary piece of this automobile. Talk us through the bus, because I've only seen it in action once, and it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, so it's a 1971 model, but built 1970 Volkswagen bay window deluxe bus. It started life as a microbus, as they call them. So it had rows of seats, like a minibus, and it got imported from America a few years back, and had a couple of bits of welding done on the sills and things. And then the guy who had imported it didn't want it anymore, put it up for sale. And I had been searching for this particular colour and particular model of bus for a long, long time, but I hadn't found the right one. And I'd sort of given up, and I'd decided I was going to not get a bay window. I was going to save up a bit more money and buy a split screen. And then this one came up for sale at the right time, and it was just meant to be. But the reason I wanted that particular color and that particular model is, I don't know if you ever watched the TV series Lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm literally watching it at the moment.
Are you really? Oh,
yeah.
man. So Lost is my favorite TV show ever that's ever been on.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were about to. I thought you were going to say, like, because it is. I know what happens at the end, and I know a lot because I'm about the third or fourth time watching it. But I mean, it's about 20 years old nearly, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm at the bit now in the 70s where the VW buses are and stuff like that. Yeah.
So Lost is my favorite TV show ever, and I've always been into Volkswagens. So I've had several different Volkswagens, and I've got a few others. I've only ever had old cars.
Yeah.
But when I wanted a bus, I always wanted that particular colour and that particular model because of the Lost Dharma buses.
I never clocked that sort of duck egg. What colour would you say your bus is? Like, it's not turquoise, is it?
I'd say it's baby blue on the bottom half and white on the top half.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a 1971 deluxe model. Cool. And yeah, I bought it, and then it was stock height when I bought it, so it was exactly like they are in the program. But yeah, I did a lot of work over COVID to the bus and lowered it and put new suspension and different wheels and different brakes and made sure the engine was running right, put a different gearbox in it, just did a lot of work on it. And now it's my one of my pride and joys, but it's also my trade vehicle. So I use it as a works vehicle for Obi-Wan and travel to shows in it and sell all my clothing and leather goods and bits and bobs.
Is it the first outing of the year for the bus? Because I remember, obviously, you met me in Western last year, didn't you? And that was 12 months ago.
This year, I think proper outing for the weekend. Yeah, it's the first one.
Well, you chose good weather for it, and
it was amazing. But yeah, no problems at all. I had a couple of problems with it before this weekend because I had to take my daily off the road to do a bit of work on that. So I jumped in the bus and used that as a daily for a few days. And the petrol gauge has stopped working, as things do on old buses. And I didn't realise how low I was on petrol, ran out of petrol, and it sucked all the crap out the bottom of the fuel tank into the fuel filter and into the carb. So I've had to strip that a couple of times, and it wasn't running very well, and it wasn't ticking over great. But I think the blast up the motorway up north to Lincolnshire has sorted it out. So it's running a lot better now.
Another thing a lot of people probably won't know about you is that you're pretty handy with a spanner and a wrench, aren't you? You're like the Phil Mitchell of British. You're like a mechanic, aren't you? You're like a
Well, I tend to do all the work on my cars myself, but the only reason I know anything is because of my dad. My dad's taught me everything I know, basically. So whenever I need to do anything on my car, I'm like, Dad, can you come and help me and show me what to do? So we always have a bit of father and son time working on cars and getting our hands dirty. So it's good fun.
Yeah, cool. Oh, awesome. So is that like having old cars? Would you just say are just way more fun than anything brand new?
Yeah.
like having those sorts of cars.
Yeah, the fact I can fix everything on my own cars and I haven't got to take it to a garage for them to plug it into a computer to tell me that a bulb's gone, is much nicer.
I had a comment on one of my videos recently from 30-something Mike, who on one of my race day videos, your car was in the video, and he was like, "Yeah, well done on the race. P.S. Brett's vintage Golf is the best thing I've ever seen," or something like that. So you went up in his estimation, I think. So
excellent, good.
Does turn a lot of heads, doesn't it? The Golf, and also not the Golf, the what is it? Is it a Golf or not?
It's a Jetta, so it's basically a Golf with a boot.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
So,
and yeah, so your cars are both VWs, then the buses, obviously.
Yeah, well, when you say both, I've also got a Karmann Ghia, which is a 1968 Karmann Ghia.
Oh, you showed me that. Yeah.
And then I've also got, but they are off the road. They need a lot of work. They need some welding and basically need complete doing up. But I've got a couple of Mark 1 Golfs as well. So
awesome.
It's that's other than running, that is one of my big passions. Yeah.
Do you watch like any YouTube about old, doing up old buses and stuff? Do you like that whole van life kind of videos and stuff like that?
Yeah, I used to watch quite a lot, and then running sort of took over my life, and now my whole algorithm on YouTube is basically running videos. Yeah. Actually, I lie. It's all running videos and eating videos.
You introduced me to Beard Meets Food, I think.
Yeah.
And God knows how I'd never seen him, because he's massive, isn't he?
He is now, yeah.
But what I love about him, so most people probably know who I mean, but this guy basically does eating challenges, similar sort of style to, who was the OG guy who used to do it on like Channel Dave or whatever it was.
Man
versus Food, Man v Food, yeah. So it's that sort of thing where he'll do it in the UK, and he'll go to do these big breakfast challenges or unlimited pizza challenges and stuff. But what's the best thing about him is he's not sort of how you would imagine him athletically to look. He's quite trim, isn't he? And very often, halfway through one of these sessions of eating, he will stretch and he will literally make room for more food, won't he? He's really interesting.
Yeah, he's not a big guy, and he works out a lot to offset the amount that he eats. But yeah, he always says it's basic maths. If you eat a lot of calories on the one day, you don't eat many calories the next day. And over the week, as long as your calorie intake is what it would be if you ate normally each day, then you're not going to put on any weight. It's
yeah.
The other guy I like to watch is a guy called Eric the Electric. I don't know if you've ever seen him. And basically he does all of his challenges in his house, but he decides on what he's going to do, goes to maybe either fast food restaurants or a supermarket and buys stupid amounts of food, puts it all on the table in front of him, and then just talks to the camera whilst he's eating a huge amount of food. It's mental.
Amazing.
But again, he's a real into his fitness, so he does Ironmans and all stuff like that. So he'll do an eating challenge like that, but it's after he's been for a 200-mile bike ride or he's been for a 20-mile run. Yeah.
Imagine having that. That would be like my dream. I think you've given me an idea for a dream lifestyle here. So I could have a running channel and also an eating channel where I just finish a marathon and then come home and do a marathon of burgers. I'm definitely going to try that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we should do that, actually. We should go and do a race somewhere, film the race, and then go afterwards to a restaurant that do an eating challenge and go and do that afterwards.
Funny, I had a similar sort of thought, but it's nothing to do with that. But right. So yesterday I went out for a family few drinks to the Red Lion, which is down where I live. And I thought, me and Brett, what we could do is we could do a challenge in the Black Country in Bilston or something and call it Running the Red Lion, because that's how they'd say it. And we could go to all the Red Lions. We can go to all the Red Lions in the Black Country and have a pint and see how many we could do without dying.
Yeah.
Running the Red Lion.
That's amazing. We should definitely do that. That's amazing. Love it.
Bonus footage, yeah.
Yeah.
Where could we go? Bilston. Yeah, we could go down to go into Wolverhampton, go to
Tipton. We're going
Tipton.
to Tipton.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get
that would be great.
That would be good. We'll get the Quiney brothers to give us a piggyback whilst we're half cut. The Tipton areas, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was going to go back quickly though, because you saying about someone saying about my car on one of your videos. Was that possibly Droitwich?
Yes.
And I do want to ask you a question about cars, because at Droitwich, I had a question come my way from a certain Andy Maguire about something
coolant, that you need.
Yeah. Coolant and oil, and whereabouts in the engine they go and which one is which.
Well,
please tell me you filled them both up.
Fortunately, it's about 6 weeks later. I'm happy to announce that they've both been topped up, and the coolant was interesting because it went from the red light that was solidly on. I was like, why is this temperature light on? What does that mean? Brett, what does this mean? Why has it been on for the last 6 months? My car's been on fire. And he's like, yeah, you need some coolant in there, you idiot. So I put some coolant. I went to Halfords that afternoon, I think, and got some I went to Screwfix actually and got some coolant, put it in. And then the blue light came on and I was like, oh my God, I've put too much in. The engine's too cold now. But fortunately, it's just happy medium now. I drove for about a mile and the blue light was still on. I was like, right, am I going to freeze to death in a minute? What's happened? But then I don't know if it had to go round the end. I don't know what had to happen. But the coolant stayed on a little longer. The blue light stayed on a little longer than I would have liked it to.
I love the fact it's gone. I love the fact that you think an engine could get too cold whilst it's running.
It could have just frozen to death. A block of ice. Start skidding on the road. My brakes have turned to ice. Put too much coolant in it.
Brilliant.
But no, all is well with the Mazda 2, with the Maguire Mobile. We're all good. We're still moving.
Good. Yeah, because the oil was very low when I checked it on your dipstick.
Yeah, well, I was a bit of a dipstick, wasn't I? But yeah. Speaking of that YouTube video, I made my first YouTube video in a month the other day. I put it on.
Wow.
Okay. I put my Race to the Stones video on, and I thought,
is that up now? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
I think it came up on Friday, I think. And that was a good month or two back, wasn't it now? And I'm surprised how many people made it to the end and watched it, because it's a long one. But it's like, when you do these long runs, from my point of view anyway, I don't want to make a 5 or 10 or algorithm friendly 12-minute video. I want to make it almost like a feature film, so you can feel the struggles, that you can feel like you're right there with me. That's why I quite like to make them quite long. I know the algorithm hates that sort of stuff, but fortunately, the audience that watches my videos are awesome, and they managed to get through. Most of them have managed to get through it, and I've had some really good feedback on it. And the whole thing was, hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's just me and Sam. Like, there's one bit as well. Oh, sorry to give you a spoiler, but there's one bit where I'm just talking through the video and he just farts halfway through it. And we just massively get the giggles. And I thought I could have easily got rid of all that stupid in-jokey nonsense, but I was like, no, I've got to keep that in.
Yeah, that's part of it. And that was part of the run.
We basically giggled our way through one of the hardest sections of the day, because we were just laughing and joking about stupid things. And there was a point where we couldn't look at each other because we could not stop laughing. But it's crazy how you start to lose your mind on these long runs. And hopefully that is for anyone that's thinking of doing the 100K next year. That's kind of shown them how we got through it. So yeah, I'm really grateful to anyone that's watched that. But yeah, it's like I think that's my video PB. I think that's a 49-minute video. So fair play to anyone that has made it through it. Thank you.
Excellent. With you saying the algorithm doesn't like long videos on YouTube, that's probably why YouTube loves this podcast.
For the extra super short bite-sized comments,
exactly.
content.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
19 minutes and we haven't even mentioned running yet. The closest we've got is running the Red Lion. We better talk, haven't we, about some running?
Yes, definitely. Shall we first, before we get on to ours, shall we go through the last 3 days of the Olympics, which is now over a week gone?
But feels like ages away.
I know. It finished a week yesterday.
Did you feel like a sense of like Olympic blues the day after? Mm-hmm. I just thought, I don't know what to do with myself now. Like, I'm missing like even the events that I was slagging off, like the judo. It was like, I'd give anything to watch a taekwondo match.
Yeah, I got really into the habit of if I was still working, getting my phone and putting the iPlayer on and having the athletics playing whilst I was still doing work on the computer.
Yeah. It was a good Olympics, wasn't it? But the last weekend, I'd arguably say, well, we'll talk about this maybe last, but the last item on the bill, the pièce de résistance, the women's marathon, I think was the cherry on the cake of the marathon, but of the Olympics. But the last few days were pretty exciting because we had a couple of the last few track events, didn't we? The 4x100. And then Saturday was the men's marathon. Sunday was the women's.
Yeah. So on Friday we had, I know we don't really do short distance stuff on here, sprints. We're not sprinters. So we don't really talk about sprinting and stuff, but there was on the Friday the 4x100 men's, and Great Britain won a silver in the 4x100. Was that the 4x100 or was that the 4x4?
No, I think it was.
4x100. Yeah, sorry, the women's 4x100. Britain won a silver. Sorry, there's my brain not working. I'm not even reading what I've written down in front of me. So the women's 4x100, America won it. So USA won it. Britain got silver and Germany got the bronze. But the men's 4x100, Canada got the gold. South Africa got the silver, and Britain got the bronze because USA once again in their sprint relay dropped the baton and made a right mess of it. So even though they've got like some of the top sprinters in the world, they always mess up the baton handovers, and they didn't finish. So that was interesting. But then on the Friday night we had the women's 10,000 meters, which was a great, exciting race.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Beatrice Chebet ended up winning it from Kenya, and she did the 5,000, 10,000 double at this Olympics, which is quite impressive. In silver was Nadia Battacletti from Italy, which her kick in the last lap was incredible to get into silver. She was pushing Beatrice Chebet all the way to the finish. So she had an amazing finish. But I think it was Battacletti that was it the Euros or the Worlds last year? She had a terrible championships, and I think she came last in the 10,000 meters at last year's championships, and then this year in the Olympics she comes second with an amazing kick at the end. So either she's worked ridiculously hard, or it was just the event of the Olympics, causing her to run extra well, or as I have heard, I'm not saying anything here, but apparently her dad, back in the day, I heard on another podcast I was listening to, her dad, when he was running, got done for doping. So hopefully she's learned her lesson from her dad and not done it. But it's a very big improvement in 1 year to go from last into battling for the gold. So yeah. I'm not saying anything. I just think she's worked really, really hard and has improved over the last year. But yeah, hopefully she has learned her lessons from her dad. But third was Sifan Hassan, who
under 10,000.
Yeah, to back up her 5,000 meter bronze, she then got the bronze in the 10,000 meters, which is incredible. Yeah. Seeing this, that was on the Friday night at about 9 o'clock at night or something like that, and on I think it was it 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday was the women's marathon. So she had less than 2 days to recover after a hard 10,000 meters, ready for the start of the marathon. So that's so impressive running from Sifan Hassan, and she proper kicked on that last lap to get into that bronze position. So yeah, great running from her. Then we have the men's 400 hurdles, which was supposed to be the Karsten Warholm show, and
Norwegian guy.
Yeah, and he got beat by Rai Benjamin from the USA, who's his biggest rival.
Yeah, watching that. Yeah,
they were both neck and neck, and then on just as they were coming onto the back straight, you could see Karsten Warholm did a little bit of a stutter before the hurdle, and that just lost him the race. So he came second, and then Alexander Santos from Brazil came third. And that was Friday. But then we moved on to Saturday, which was the men's marathon in the morning.
Before we move on to the road, can I just ask you? Yes. We got an email a while back, which is to do with track, which we had over a month ago on the 15th of July. So sorry, Julian Livesey. I don't know how we've overlooked this. I don't know if it ended up on our spam or what it was. Some of our emails are ended up in spam, so we do apologize if we don't see them. But this one is from Julian, and he says, "Hello, chaps. I'll just sort of summarize what he says. Quick question for the pod. I really enjoy watching the Diamond League, but was really puzzled by this Paris event. Was the Diamond League in Paris recently?
So right, okay. A month or so before the Olympics, there was the Paris Diamond League.
Right, okay. The 800 meter finish, slow motion, showed Wanyonyi throwing out his arm to try and pull back the winner as they crossed the line. I know it didn't change the result, but it didn't look good. Then in the steeplechase, a similar thing happened with Sime. Less obvious, he could argue he was trying to keep his balance. The commentators spot it and refer to it as edging and pushing, and officials don't see a problem. A push in the bunch to prevent falls is understandable, but I wondered your thoughts on trying to block other athletes at the tape. Should I be hauling back the person in front of me at parkrun on Saturday? Doesn't seem like cricket, but if World Athletics is given the green light, I might give it a go. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? Good question, Julian. Good topic.
I think a bit of competitive hustling and bustling, yes, okay. But if you're actually putting your arm out fully and pulling someone back, then that's not good, is it? But I did watch that Paris Diamond League, and he does put his arm out, but it's not fully all the way across. It's like down to the side. So yeah, but so I suppose you could partly see it as his way of dipping to try and get to the line.
Yeah.
But yeah,
because it's running and track, I guess, is a contact sport, and I mean by that, like, Well, no, because if you think about the 100 meters, you're obviously in your lane. You're not allowed out of your lane. But when everyone runs on the inside of bends, there's going to be jostling for position, isn't there?
Yeah, distance running, everybody wants to take the shortest route, and the shortest route is the inside of lane 1. If you're anywhere other than there, you're running a different distance. So everybody wants to be as close to the centre as they can. And to get to that position, there can be a lot of hustling, bustling, pushing, and everybody's running at such a high speed that it's really easy to get tripped over, to get spiked, to step on people. It's an interesting type of running on the track because it's very different to road racing. Road racing, you've got so much space around everybody that it doesn't happen very often. But on the track, everybody is running at a very similar pace, all trying to stand on exactly the same spot of track.
Well, as you found out, because wasn't it only a few months ago that you ended up on your face?
Yeah.
at track.
Yes. Yeah. Somebody took my tripped me up accidentally behind, and I just went down like a sack of spuds. So it's very, very, very easy to happen. Especially when you're racing, because you are being competitive and you're trying to get that space rather than everyone else that's in the race with you. So I think during the race, yes, there can be some elbowing and shoving and things like that, but as they're crossing the line, that's when it starts to get, is it racing? Is it a racing incident? Is it verging on the line of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but interfering with other people's finishing straight. Is it stopping them from getting to the line before you because you've put your arm out? It's a very thin line, isn't it? I suppose. As I say, I think if you're putting your arm out fully and pulling someone back, that's probably not okay. But a bit of a hustle because you're both trying to get to the finish line at the same time.
Maybe Julian, right? On Saturday, sit behind someone at parkrun, and then the last 5 meters, pull them back before the end, before you're crossing the line, and then see how they react and see how everyone else reacts. I don't know if it will go down too well, but let us know. But no, we don't really endorse that kind of behavior, do we? No. It's a strange one, because I imagine in elite competition, when there's money at stake and when there's sponsorship deals at stake, and when there's, the difference between, say, finishing 3rd and 4th, where, I don't know, if you finish 3rd, if you finish 4th, you get 0, but if you finish 3rd, you get something. I can totally see why that competitive streak comes out. And if you can gain an advantage by hook or by crook, you will probably take that. And you'll probably be prepared to take the rap if you did something that was against the rules. Like, didn't Gunn get disqualified, but then reinstated?
Yeah. So, during the 5,000 meters, she was having a bit of a tussle with, I think it was Beatrice Gibet that she was having a tussle with. And then, so she crossed the finish line and got instantly disqualified. But then they looked back at it and just went, oh, no, that was a racing incident. It was 50-50. So reinstated her and gave her a medal back.
I think I read it was because it didn't actually change the overall result. Because when the incident happened, I think they were in 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
And she ended up finishing 3rd, didn't she? But what was the actual horrible thing about it was, didn't someone else, the person who finished in 4th, didn't they actually get the bronze and were awarded it on the podium?
I don't think they were giving it on the podium, but but overnight they thought they'd won the
bronze,
won the bronze, and then got demoted back down to 4th. So
I wonder if I mean, because isn't Gunn like? Is she like renowned as the GOAT of 10,000s, or she's
Gunn is 15.5. So
okay.
same as Jakob. So she does
Okay.
the 1500 and the 5000.
Because I wonder if the bigger your name in athletics or in sport, the more influence you have over officials. I mean, we see this with football. We see this with, if you're a big team, you get decisions, and if you're fighting at the bottom, you don't really seem to get the rub of the green. So I wonder if sometimes that comes into it a little bit. I mean, everyone's saying maybe if it was like, because it was Kipiegon, maybe they're sort of saying, well, yeah, go on, we'll just give her the bronze because it's Faith Kipiegon. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Did you
feel a
see it
bit.
though? Did you see it though? What actually happened?
Yeah, no, it didn't look too bad as I remember.
Yeah, no, it was just a bit of elbowing and pushing out the way because they were both trying to get the same bit of track. So it's one of them. As I say, when you are all running so close to each other at a really hot pace, and you're all trying to tread on the same bit of track, it's going to have a little bit of argy-bargy at some points because, I mean, as he said in his email, like pushing to keep upright sometimes has to happen.
Didn't you say that happens in cross country?
Oh man, that's exactly what I was going to say. The start of nationals cross country last year was horrendous because there was over 1,000 people all running for the same bit of track at the end, and it was we were probably, I don't know, 100, 150 people across at the start. And at the end of the field that we were running down, it went down to where only 15 could be across. So everybody's running for that same thing. So it's just funneling down. So it gets quite hairy, and you properly have to put your hands out and push people in front so you don't fall down and get stamped on. It's part of racing. Yeah,
it's carnage. Yeah. I do remember seeing that. Do you remember that reminds me of that start line? I think it was the Valencia 10K.
Yes.
Do you remember that when there was like a pylon at the start?
Yeah. And that was all. It was all down to people not wanting to start back at their start, so they jumped the ropes and moved up to where the women's start was. So you had the elite men at the front, and behind them were the elite women.
Yeah.
And then there was like the sub-elite people who were behind a second tape. And some of the sub-elite didn't want to start that far back. They wanted to start where the elites were. So they dipped under the tape and went to where just behind all the sub-elite women. So there was too many people at the start. So when it started, everyone tripped over each other, and it just ended up being a massive pylon.
Flipping hell, that's dangerous stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's starting pens for a specific reason.
Yeah. 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 So. But anyway, let's talk about the marathons then, because they were pretty exciting for different reasons.
Yes. So the men's marathon, obviously, it was advertised as the big showdown of Kipchoge and Kenenisa Bekele, but in the end, it ended up being the Tamrat Tola show. And the amazing thing about Tamrat Tola is a couple of weeks before the Olympics, Tamrat Tola wasn't running in the Olympics.
I read this. Yeah, he was called up last minute, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he runs for Ethiopia, and the Ethiopia team was picked, and Tamrat Tola didn't make it. But there's lots of headlines that have gone around saying the men's marathon was won by a substitute runner. He came in the last minute and blah, 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 blah. But what you've got to remember is Tamrat Tola, I think he's won the New York Marathon before. He's won the World Championships marathon in the past. He's a very good runner. The thing is, with countries like Kenya and Ethiopia, you have got so many men who are world-class marathon runners that they can't all make the Olympics because there's only 3 places. So he wasn't one of the ones that got picked originally. But then one of their runners was injured and had to drop out, so he got the call up as the reserve. But as a reserve, because this has happened with a lot of countries had reserves, and what they say is if you are a reserve for the marathon, just train as if you are going to run the marathon. And if you get called up, then you're in marathon shape, ready to go. It's not like you suddenly get a call up and you go, oh man, I've not done any training. I've only got 2 weeks before the Olympics. You've already been training and preparing as if you were going to run it. So yeah, he's a very, very good runner.
I think he won the Great North Run last year when I was there, because it was billed as Mo Farah's last race, and I think Tola, I'm pretty sure it's him, just absolutely obliterated the field. And I think I'll have to check that, Great North Run winner 2023, but I think he was at least there. So I think he did. I think he did like a 59 or something like that. He did a really quick time.
Oh, actually, I said he won the Worlds, didn't he? What actually happened, if I remember rightly, last year, he entered the World Championships marathon, and I think it was this way around. Entered the World Championships marathon, and people were saying that he had a good chance of winning it, and he dropped out halfway through and DNF.
Really?
And people were like, oh man, he hasn't done very well. They weren't very. And then a couple of weeks later, entered New York Marathon and won it. So obviously he wasn't feeling 100% during the World. So he just thought, I'll drop out and not go all the way to the end and completely knacker my legs. And I'll just go and do another one a couple of weeks later.
Yeah. Maybe New York was always the goal.
Possibly.
I don't know. Because I wonder if prize money comes into that. Because it wouldn't surprise me if New York Marathon pays more than the World Champs or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Well, it will do, won't it? So it's it's probably quite a healthy amount for the winner of that. And it was Tola. It says Tamrat Tola stormed to victory in 59 minutes, 58 seconds in the men's race. This is Great North Run last year. The Ethiopian was 1 minute 22 seconds clear of Belgium's Bashir Abdi.
Yeah.
With another Ethiopian, Mukhtar Edris, in third. Yeah. And that was Great North Run last year.
With you saying that, so Tamrat Tola won the men's marathon, and in second place was Bashir Abdi, who runs for Belgium. Yeah,
because he was Mo Farah's trainer partner for a while, wasn't he? So that's the only reason I've heard of him, because I've heard Mo Farah talk about him, but he's obviously a very good runner. Yeah.
Yeah, he also is trained. Bashir Abdi is trained by Paula Radcliffe's husband.
Ah, really?
Yeah, and he had a bit of an injury going into it, so I don't know if you were Did you watch the whole of the race of the men's marathon?
No, because I watched the end of it because I went to Parker and paused it and came back. But I watched. I think I watched it in bits. And starts,
So on the downhills, Bashir Abdi was holding like his hip, and he was struggling a bit on the downhills. But he managed to push through and come second. And then in third, we did have a Kenyan on the podium. Unfortunately, it wasn't the one that we wanted. But Benson Kiproto from Kenya came third. But Tamrat Tola run a new Olympic record on that course, which is crazy.
Because that course, there were two sizable hills, weren't there? Yeah. There was one at about 17k and one again at 30 or something like that, wasn't there?
Yeah. So there was 500 meters of elevation, so just over 1,000 foot of elevation.
Yeah.
No, sorry, that's not just over 1,000 foot, is it?
It's about 1,600 foot, isn't it? 1,500 foot. Yeah, you normally times it by about 2.8, times it by 3. Yeah, 500 meters.
Yeah,
I bet you.
Yeah, okay. So there was about 500 meters of elevation. Yeah, which is probably about 1,400 meters.
1640 feet is 5. I know. Hang on. No, oh god.
Come on, we know what you're like with maths.
500 meters in feet.
Yeah, will be probably will be 1,600 and something.
Yeah, 1640.
Yeah. But all of that came in 2 climbs. There was some up and down on the rest of it, but 2 main climbs. So there was 2 massive hills, but those massive hills then had massive downhills after.
I saw some of the footage, and some of those downhills looked sounds stupid, but as equally punishing, if not more so, because you want to fly down those hills, but the quads, it's a bit like, I guess it's a bit like, well, we don't know what Boston's like, me and you, because we've never done it, but apparently it's a bit like Boston because your legs get punished early on, don't they, with those early downhills. So your quads are being destroyed quite early on in the race with those heavy downhills.
Yeah, and then at the end is all the hills. So you've got Heartbreak Hill and everything at the end of Boston.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's a difficult one. But but he ran an Olympic record, and a lot of people in that race ran PBs. So even though there was those massive hills, because of that massive downhill as well, it ended up being quite a quick course, which is incredible.
Because didn't he win it in about 2:06?
2:06, 26.
Yeah. That is frighteningly fast. That's like London Marathon pace, isn't it? Like that's, I mean, what's the London PB? About 2:04.
What's that? London? No, 2:01.
Was that Kelvin Kiptum's?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Because up until then, it was nowhere near 2:01, was it? He ran an amazing London, didn't he?
Yeah.
But that I didn't realize until late on. Not that I would have entered it anyway, but there was you could run the Olympic course, couldn't you? Either the 10K or the
you could run the full
marathon. Yeah, but it was a midnight marathon. It was like a 10 o'clock at night kind of thing, and it looked.
Yeah, I think it started at 9 p.m.
Did you see the one of the big hills with all the like UTMB style archways that glow? You run through them. They look so cool. And what an experience that must have been. So if anyone listening to this podcast knows anyone or ran that, was it called Marathon Port 2 or Port New or something like that? If anyone knows it, let us know what it was like, because I'm really, really intrigued to know what that was like.
Yeah, it translated to Marathon of the People.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, or the People's Marathon. But that was such a cool idea. But the most amazing part of the men's marathon was Emil Caress, our GB runner, who came in 4th place, which is
mega.
It equals our best ever finishing position in the men's marathon in the Olympics.
And he started flying second half, didn't he? Because I remember they were saying he was in 8th or he's in 9th.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
on that second climb, he got up into 2nd, and it wasn't until the downhills that they started catching him again. But he was really strong on the uphills. And what was annoying was the way the BBC showed it. Obviously, they wanted to show Tola and the winners crossing the finish line, but obviously Emil Caress got passed by a few people, and he was in 6th. And the last time you saw him, he was in 6th, and then it changed to like the blue mats where they were finishing.
Yeah,
and you saw Tola finish, and then Abdi came round and Kipruto, and they finished, and then it showed like the blue mat again, and round the corner comes Emil Caress, and he managed to pick it up again and overtake the 2 in front of him, and he came in 4th, which is an incredible run. So yeah, for him to run that, I was well impressed. Amazing work. And then our other GB runners, we had Phil Sessamon, who ran 2:13 for 46th place, and Mohammed, who ran 2:15 for 57th place. So they both did well. I think Mohammed struggled. I think he had some issues or something before the marathon, so it didn't go 100% to plan for him.
He ran really well in London, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah. So at London, Emil Caress came 3rd, and Mohammed was 4th.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they were very close to each other. So I think he was hoping for a better result than that, but it's still not bad, is it?
Maybe Emil Caress is thinking maybe London could be my year next year. Well, depending on what field turns up. Yeah. If he's running Olympic 4th place on that course, maybe.
Well, this is the thing. It's what is next for Emil Caress? Could he go on and do well in the majors? Because we've not had a British guy do well and be that far up. I mean, Mo Farah did well, but he never was battling for the podium. And he still has the British record, Mo Farah. So that's possibly what Emil's going to go for next, is the British record.
Yeah.
But
tell us what happened to Eliud then.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to go on to was so Kenenisa Bekele did finish. He came 39th in 2:12.24. So not the race, obviously, that he wanted. He looked like he was struggling because it wasn't only the hills either. During this marathon, it was hot. It was a very hot marathon. I think it was 20 degrees whilst they were running, which that's a hot race. That is. Apparently, on some I can't remember where I heard it, but on some TV channel, it wasn't the BBC, because they actually know what they're talking about, because Paula Radcliffe obviously is a marathon runner, and Steve Cram knows what he's talking about. But some TV channel somewhere that was showing the marathon was saying, oh, and it's perfect running conditions for a marathon. It's beautiful out there, lovely weather. And everybody's
lovely
going,
and sunny.
hey, you're joking, 20 degrees to go run a marathon. That's mental.
Yeah.
But so Kenenisa Bekele came 39th, but Eliud Kipchoge, and this is sad, because one of the reasons I always said he was the GOAT of marathon running is, in his whole time of running the marathon, he has always finished. No matter if he's had a bad race or anything, he's always got to the finish line. And this Olympics was his first ever DNF, which
first ever.
Yeah, so he's never not finished a marathon. So it was his first ever DNF. And he was holding his hip throughout the race, like from quite early on. So he was in a bit of distress, and I think he just got to the point where he was like, I don't want to carry on here. I don't want to keep running through this pain. I'd love to finish, but what makes him the GOAT? So even though he didn't finish, he walked from the point from when he stopped. He walked for about another, I think it was about another mile or something like that. And he waited before he stepped off the course and did not finish. He waited for the last runner to come through so he could cheer them on. And waited until they had passed him before he stepped off the course, which is amazing.
What a guy.
Yeah.
What a bloke.
And then afterwards, so after that guy had gone and he decided he was going to stop, he then went to the side to the barrier, and there was obviously loads of people cheering him because he's Kipchoge. And one of the crowd said, "Can I have your shoes?" And he went, and carried on walking for a bit. And then the guy was walking with him. And when the van came to pick Kipchoge up, so the van could take him to the finish, Kipchoge took his shoes off, gave the guy his shoe. Then I think he was going to give him that guy his other shoe as well. But someone else got the second shoe. And then he took his singlet off and gave that to someone. And
really?
Yeah. So all of his mementos that he would have had from his last Olympics, he gave his his name, so his bib, to someone. Yeah. So he's just such a good guy.
What's amazing as well, that was his 5th Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And London, he didn't qualify for. So
No.
that means his first Olympics was it Sydney 2004 or Athens, whichever one was in 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just
which is
Australia
crazy.
or Athens. I don't know. But so yeah, he's done 04, 08, and I think he obviously won gold, didn't he, in Rio, again in Tokyo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So such a shame. He's obviously injured, isn't he? And
yeah. But he's just he's still the GOAT, and hopefully he will come back and run another marathon. I'd like to see him, because he's the same age as you, isn't he? Because he'll be 40 this year.
So he's a year older than me. Yeah. So
he's a year older. So
yeah.
So he's going to be 40 by the end of this year, which means if he carries on running the marathons, he could aim for Kenenisa Bekele's Masters Marathon world record.
Yeah.
Which is 2:04 something. So yeah, and I think Kenenisa Bekele ran that at London this year.
Yeah.
He broke his own Masters world record. So I reckon that's what Kipchoge will go for next, is that Masters marathon.
And that's a bloody hard time to beat. Like for what a performance that would have been for Bekele. So yeah, that will be a great target to have. But
yeah,
I thought it was like you say, it was billed as the Bekele versus Kipchoge, and it didn't really happen. And the race wasn't actually that thrilling, was it? Nowhere near the women's.
Yeah, but there was a couple of other races before we get to the women, so I do want to go through those.
Oh right, okay, okay.
But yeah, Kipchoge, he did you see what he put on Instagram as well, and why?
Very, very humble. Yeah, I liked his post.
It was great. Yeah. He just said, "Today was a tough loss for me, as I've worked towards the goal with every bit of devotion within me. I want to share my congratulations to Tamrat Tola on a very strong race yesterday and becoming an Olympic champion. It's the most special feeling in the world, and I hope you are proud of this achievement." And he just says thank you to everybody. But yeah, he said apparently he, in an interview as well, he said, I'm a bit like a boxer. I've been knocked down, and I've had bad races before, but I'll always get back up and go again. So hopefully, we will see him back. But yeah, that was a shame. But it was still a really. I really enjoyed watching it. I was quite excited by the men's marathon. But as you say, other things came next, which were very exciting. Then on the Saturday night, there was the men's 800 meters. We only had one GB runner in that, although we were expecting maybe two, but only Max Bergin got through. But it was a super fast final. So Emmanuel Wanyoni from Kenya won it in 1:41.19, which was a PB for him. And I think it's like less than 0.3 of a second off the world record. So it was a mega fast final. Marco Arup of Canada ran an area record for second place, and Jamel Sajati of Algeria came third. And then Bryce Hoppel, who was the American who got into the final, people thought he had a chance of getting on the podium, came fourth, but he ran a national record, so he ran the USA national record in that final. So yeah, mega quick. Then we had the 5,000 meters final, and Jakob just showed his class in that.
I forgot about the 5,000. Yeah, it was a
masterclass in
5,000
meter running. It wasn't a fast race. It was just over 13 minutes, so it wasn't a super fast race. I think the world record's like 12:30, something like that. So yeah, quite a way off that. But yeah, he just showed how good he is, and no one is going to beat Jakob in the last couple of laps of a 5,000 meters. When he wants to go, he just winds it up and leaves everyone. So Jakob won the gold. Ronald Quemoy from Kenya was second. And then I thought this was great. Grant Fisher put in a really good kick at the end and got a bronze. So he's managed to finish in the bronze position in both the 10,000 meters and the 5,000 meters. And for an American to do that against all of the Kenyans and all of that, really, really good running. George Mills, who was our British runner in the final, who only got through to the final because he got put through after being pushed over. He ended up in 21st, but you could tell he was properly fatigued because he had done the 1500 heats. He'd done the what's called the repechage for the 1500. Then he'd done the 1500 semi-final. Then he'd done the 5,000 meter heats, and then he'd done the final, and you could tell, he was just knackered. So
I'm pretty sure he even had a brief stint up the front, didn't he, where he tried to take the pace, and that didn't last very long, did it?
No, it didn't. No. You could tell he was fatigued, and but that was the 5,000 meters, and Jakob, just showed how good he is over 5,000 meters. See, lots of people say he should concentrate on the 5,000 meters, but I don't think he will step up to the 5:10 yet. Jakob, I think he will want to still prove how good he is over 1,500 meters, even though last 3 major championships he's lost out, and this one he didn't even podium in the 1,500. I think he still wants to show how quick he is over 1,500 meters. So the Diamond League that's coming up very soon. It's going to be basically a rerun of the Olympic final because all of those are running in the 1,500 again. So that's going to be quite exciting.
I quite like Ingebrigtsen. I know he's billed, especially to us Brits, as the old enemy for Josh Kerr, but he's first of all, he's an incredible athlete who's relatively. He's still quite young, isn't he? Is he mid-20s?
Yeah, he's about 23.
Yeah, so 24. I mean, he's done a lot already, hasn't he? And he backs it up, with confidence and with arrogance. If you have that, if you strut around like a peacock, you've got to be able to back it up on the track.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe he didn't get the 1,500 result he wanted, but the 5,000 obliterated everybody, didn't he? Including, like you say, the Kenyans and the Ethiopians and the people that you'd put your money on. And he absolutely just took charge of it. So, I do have a lot of respect for him. And the rivalry is just great to watch. It's like boxing, isn't it? The hype is what gets you invested.
Yeah.
And, it creates a perfect media storm, doesn't it?
Yeah, and he's a great character for the sport, just like Josh Kerr is. He's a wicked character to have in that, and it brings viewers into the sport, and that's the only way that the sport of athletics and running is going to get bigger and get more airtime is through people like that.
Yeah, definitely. So kudos.
But then after the 5,000 meters, we then had the women's 1,500 meters, which was super exciting as well. What a great race. Now, obviously, Faith Kipyegon is just next level at the 1,500 meters. There's a reason she is known as the best 1,500 meter runner. She just showed exactly how to run a 1,500 meters. And she came away with the gold and a new Olympic record of 3:51.29. And then in second was an Australian, Jess Hull, was in second, and there was a lot of pressure on her actually because she's been running really well this year, and loads of people have been saying she's definitely in line for a medal. And she broke the world record over 2K earlier in the year at one of the Diamond Leagues. So she's been running really well. So she backed it up and she got the silver. But then in third place, we had an amazing run from Georgia Bell from Great Britain. And she came away with bronze medal. Laura Muir ended up in 5th, I think. But what was crazy about this race is Laura Muir was the national record holder of the British 1500 meters. In this Olympic final, Laura Muir came in 5th and she broke her own national record with a PB of 3:53.37. But Georgia Bell came in 3rd and now owns the national record. So even though Laura Muir ran faster than her old national record, she still got beat by Georgia Bell. So she ran 3:52.61. And yeah, incredible. And what's great about Georgia Bell is when she was younger, she did athletics and she was a runner, and then she gave up the sport and she didn't run for years. And it was only during lockdown she went to do a park run just after lockdown, and her running at the park run, she ran pretty well, and she went, I might have a go going back to this running malarkey.
I've missed it a little bit,
yeah, she's got back into it, and she's now a bronze medalist in the 1500 meters at the Olympics.
Wow.
And national record holder. So it just shows it's never too late to start or get back into something. Her story is incredible. And amazing. Yeah, what a great run from her. That was a proper exciting race. I really love that. Then we had the 4x400 races, the relays, and in the men's, USA won it and Botswana was second, but Britain got third in the men's. And then in the women's 4x400, USA came first, Holland came second, or the Netherlands, whichever one you want to say, and Britain came third. So we got 2 bronzes across the 4x400.
Because Femke Bol was on the last leg, wasn't she?
Yes. Did you see Sydney McLaughlin's leg, though?
Who's that? I can't remember.
The American who is like the battle between Femke Bol and Sydney McLaughlin in the 400 hurdles.
Oh, I don't think I was concentrating. No. What happened in that battle?
So in the 400 hurdles, it was the Sydney McLaughlin versus Femke Bol like showdown. And Femke Bol ended up getting the bronze because she went out a bit too quick and took it out of herself too early. But Sydney McLaughlin she just flew and absolutely smashed it. But in the 400 meter relay, she was flying, Sydney McLaughlin, and did like the fastest leg by miles. She just left everybody behind. It was incredible to watch.
Interesting.
But that then finished off Saturday, and then it ended up with the only athletics that was on the last day, on the Sunday, was the women's marathon. And I didn't manage to watch all of this. I managed to watch all of the men's, but I haven't managed to watch all of the women's. I've only watched the highlights. And there was some very exciting stuff. But you watched the women's, didn't you? And watched it all.
Yeah, but annoyingly, I did the whole paused it because I was doing something else because I was watching it live on iPlayer. I paused it and then just was having my breakfast, or I can't remember why I was out taking the dog out or something like that. I just went on Instagram to see, and then I saw Benny's running viral post.
Yeah,
I thought, well, that's ruined it for me because I know what happens at the end now. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Because that has had like 1 million views or something, hasn't it? One of the ones he posted. But no, it was an absolute thriller. A brilliant. And what I loved about it is the climax of the race normally it's like a shootout between maybe 2, 3 if you're lucky, but in the last kilometer or maybe 2K, there was a group of 5 of them all running for 3 places to get medals, and I was like, this is going to be a corker. But the whole thing was just was just really, really interesting, wasn't it? And yeah, where do we start with this one? Because it was
well, I think we've just got to go straight in with the gold medal winning athlete Sifan Hassan, who is just, mate, she's incredible. So she ran an Olympic record, same as Tola did, 2:22:55. On that course is incredible. But so soon after she'd come bronze in the 10,000 meters, and she'd also done the 5,000 meters.
That's the craziness, isn't it?
Yeah. So that means over the course of the Olympics, she did the 5,000 meter heats and the 5,000 meter final and the 10,000 meters and the marathon. So she's run 62K at race pace. Yeah. with some really hard kicks at the end of the 5,000 and the 10,000, which is properly going to take it out of you those last laps.
And podiumed in every single one.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So she got two bronzes in the 5 and 10, and then 1 gold in the marathon.
I think she's
with the same sort of kick that she managed to do in the 5,000 and 10,000. She just, she did that in at the end of the marathon. And I think that was her. I think that was her game plan of if I can just stay with these until the last couple of 100 meters, no one's staying with me because I'm off.
I just love her unshakable confidence to run with Asefa, I think it was at the end, who's the women's world record holder.
Yes.
Who's done it this season, I think. Did she do it this season? Or was it the world record? Or was that Chicago last year? I can't remember.
No, it was Berlin last year.
Yeah, so she's in arguably still quite good form. She's still riding that wave. Not even 12 months ago, she ran the quickest a woman's ever run a marathon. And she's neck and neck with her. And not only that, she fancies her chances.
Yeah.
And she's got inside Asefa's head.
Yeah.
And you can sort of see that because Asefa sort of goes, doesn't she, about, well, it seemed like only 100 meters to go, but it was probably about 500 meters to go. She sort of tried to drop because 5 became 4, became 3. She sort of dropped. Was it Chibet? I can't remember who the third one was.
Helen Abiri.
Yeah. So she was the last one to drop out of those 3, and then you can just see Asefa just raise her game and just try and just go. And what happened next was maybe one of the most iconic finishes to a marathon ever.
Yeah.
Like that. Just quickly, one thing I heard the commentators say, and I've heard them say this before about Sifan Hassan, is her almost OCD level of attention to running the racing line and never leaving the racing line. Yeah. And you see her take her drink bottle and then bang, she's straight back to it. She doesn't really sort of go and gradually, she just sort of goes and she gets back on the line.
Yeah.
And she saw a little bit like the Josh Kerr, what we talked about last week. She saw, Cole Hocker. She saw the door open with the smallest of margins because Asefa had left that left-hand side open, which was like the rate, I guess you could say, is the racing line. And she just went.
Yeah.
And and there was a bit of a clash, wasn't there?
Yeah. See, this is the thing. Tigst Asefa, after the race, said, if Sifan Hassan hadn't pushed me, I would have won it. And at the same time, yes, she might have had a chance if they hadn't have had that bit of a tussle. But the reason Sifan Hassan had a bit of a push with her was because Tigst Asefa basically closed in on her. She saw that she was going to go past her, so just tried to run in front of her. So she had to push her out the way, otherwise she was going to go down. So you can say all you want. If she hadn't pushed me, I would have won. But you didn't win, and you tried to block her. So she had all the right to push you out the way.
Yeah. And the kick that Safana's got is frighteningly quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like you say, she just seems to be able to just pull it out of the bag. Do you remember London 2023? I think it was.
Yes.
Again, she was involved in one of the most legendary finishes ever.
Yeah.
And she ended up winning.
Just the race, full stop. The fact that she stopped so many times to stretch out her leg, and then caught them back up, and
she was offering people drinks
at one point. Yeah, proper getting in people's heads because she missed her drink station, so she went back on herself to get a drink, came back, was drinking it, and then went, "Do you want some?"
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I just think she's one of the most likable athletes right now in the world. I just find her so humble and so. She's quite goofy. Do you know what I mean? She's quite like in her interviews. Have you seen that famous one after London when she's like, "Oh my God, what am I doing? This morning I was crying. What was I thinking? Why do I do this to myself?"
I woke up this morning knowing I was going to run a marathon. I told myself, "Why have I done this? Why have I put myself through this?"
and we're all going, "Yeah, I know exactly the feeling." Yeah, she's just so relatable, isn't she? And she's just she's just a superhero, and she's such a role model to not even just women, to everyone out there.
Yeah.
To just be your best you, isn't she? She's just amazing. She actually really genuinely excites me whenever she's in a race. You just don't ever really know what's going to happen because she kind of gets you on the edge of your seat. She's not like Inga Britson where she leads from the front. She kind of just hangs back, doesn't she? And like you say, she just, maybe it's unintentional, but she gets in the other athlete's head so they know she's there.
Yeah.
And like the Steve Cram and the other guys were saying that the other athletes will be so frightened of her because they know what she's potentially got.
Yeah.
The last 500 meters of any race.
Yeah.
Or the last couple of 100 meters of any race, because she is frighteningly quick.
Yeah.
But so pleased for her to have got the win.
Yeah. What's even more incredible, I've just thought about it as well, is yes, she's run 62 point something K over the Olympics, but 20 of that was in spikes.
Yeah. That's even imagine the calf damage. Not damage, but she must have spent so much of her time in the blooming what do you call it? The cold pools. The
getting massages and stuff.
Yeah, she must have spent so much time getting. She must have had to sleep in them.
Yeah, but what an incredible race! But yeah, so Sifan Hassan was got the gold. Tig Stesefa got the silver, and Helena Beery ran a PB for third place. So really good. For our GB athletes, so unfortunately, Charlotte Purdue had to drop out. So Clara Evans came in her place. Do you know why Charlotte Purdue had to drop out? Did you hear why?
Well, I think I saw in her Well, I don't know how I know this, but I'm sure it was on her last long run of a taper. She went over on her ankle or something.
Yeah. Rolled her ankle on her last long training run, and it was so bad that she couldn't actually compete. How gutting is that? And do you know the worst part about it? Charlotte Purdue is now qualified for Team GB for 3 Olympics, and she's not been able to run any of them.
Oh God!
So she's qualified for 3 Olympics, but she's still not an Olympian.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's gutting.
And she's probably our brightest.
Yeah, she's our fastest marathon runner. So yeah, it's absolutely gutting. Which I do really feel sorry for her. But Clara Evans came in her place as her backup, and she managed to finish highest out of all of our GB runners, which was good.
She's Welsh. She's Welsh, I think, isn't she?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she is. Yeah,
she came 46th in 2:31. 2:33:01.
Yeah.
Rose Harvey was our second GB athlete home. She came 78th, so there was only 2 people behind her, and she ran in 2:51:03. But it turns out that she was having a little bit of she had a little bit of a niggle before the race, but she just thought it was tightness and things like that. Turns out she got a stress fracture in her thigh.
So before the race, she was having this discomfort.
Yeah, so
it didn't happen mid-race.
No, so in training, she just thought they just thought it was muscle tightness leading up to the race. So they thought that once she started, the muscle tightness would free up and she'd be all right. But no, she had a stress fracture. So she ran the Olympic marathon with a stress fracture.
Yeah, that's what they say. Is it's like a hairline break, isn't it? So they say that she ran a marathon with a broken leg.
Yes, but
the pain.
Yeah, but what we have got to say is people saying how amazing this is. Yes, it is incredible, but at the same time, it is not something that you should ever do. If you are injured, don't go and run a marathon. It don't matter what the marathon is. So, everybody listening to this pod, if you are training for a marathon and you end up having an injury that is bad, like a stress fracture or a stress reaction or anything, don't go and run the race because you are going to seriously hurt yourself. She is going to have a huge recovery time now just to get over that because she's put her body through so much.
She's probably looking at, well, as a guess, 3 months, 6 months before she gets anywhere near back to her best, I guess. And she's Evesham girl, isn't she? So for anyone that doesn't know where that is, it's from like, it's 10, 20 mile away from where Brett and I live. She's a Worcestershire gal. So yeah, crazy that she managed to get through it, but maybe she obviously didn't get, I don't know, what do you call it, a scan or anything until after she finished the race.
Yeah,
well, that's probably.
I think that's what happened because they thought it was just muscle tightness. They've been massaging it to try and loosen it up, and started the race. And it wasn't until after the race she got a scan, and they went, "Oh no, it wasn't muscle tightness. You've got a stress fracture." So yeah, that's not good. But well done for finishing. That is incredible that she managed to get through to the end. But then Callie Holger-Thackeray, she DNF'd the race. I think she got to about 17 mile before she had to drop out. And people weren't quite sure what had happened, whether she was injured or what actually happened to her. But like when she finished, she more or less collapsed when she finished.
Oh God! Right.
And it's come out since that she said on her Instagram and stuff that in the lead up to the marathon to the Olympics, she found out that her mom had got cancer.
Oh my God!
And there was a possibility that it was terminal and she hadn't got long. So it started to really affect Callie, and she had it was really starting to play on her mind and affect her training. And then she lost her appetite because of what was going on. So she wasn't eating properly. And then she wasn't sleeping because she was worrying so much. So she started getting fatigued really easily. And she was hoping that she would be able to get through it and get through the Olympic marathon. But she said her body was acting like it would have been able to compete at the Olympics. So that's why she started the race. But she said once she got into it, she realized that her body was so fatigued and just wasn't capable of doing what she wanted to do. So although physically she felt okay, mentally and actually she wasn't. And she had to drop out.
And when you add into the mix, it's an incredibly fast field on the hardest course the Olympics have ever seen.
Yeah, and a much hotter day than it was.
Much hotter than men's. And so there's so many factors there that, like you say, the body can kind of kid you, and the mind can kind of kid you that you're okay.
Yeah.
Until you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a real shame, and I hope her mom is okay. But it's not the way she would have wanted her debut Olympics to go, because she was looking in promising shape this year. She'd ran some really good times and was looking really good, but for that to happen, that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, that is really bad. Yeah.
But that then pretty much finished off the athletics at the Olympics, and I've got to say, what an Olympics it was from an athletics and running point of view.
Really good.
It was incredible. Some of the performances and the races were just next level, and hopefully it's brought a lot more fans to the sport, and we can start, and it'll start to really start to push itself on the TV and get more coverage.
Yeah, I'll tell you who has had a lot of coverage since is the Australian breakdancer.
Yes. That was actually going to be one of the things that I brought up in our Olympic picks from the last few days. What's your take on that, on Ray Gunn from Australia?
Well, it feels like, I mean, I've sort of read a little bit into it. Like apparently there were other breakdancers from Australia that, they showed the person that she'd essentially taken the place of, and who was a proper, well, the dance that I saw was ridiculously amazing. Ray Gunn just seems like more of a creative artist rather than an athlete.
Her background is in ballroom dancing.
Really?
But she's a university professor, and she's got qualifications in like the history of breakdance and all of the theory behind it. So she's an expert in it, but not necessarily in the actual dancing of it. But I'm not sure how much you should believe, though, of what you read online, because there are lots of people that are saying she's cheated loads of people out of the chance to go to the Olympics and proper breakdancers. But she did have to go to a national championships to get her place. So, and there's lots of conspiracy theories saying that her husband was on the judging panel of the national championships, and that's the only reason she won, was because her husband was doing it, and she was the person who set up the national organization to send,
or whatever it was.
to send the Australians to the Olympics in the breakdancing. So there's lots of things going around, but how much you should believe of that, I don't know, because she did actually go to a championships and win it, and if she was the best at the championships, then that's who you send. But just because there's other breakdancers in the country who are way better, if they don't turn up to the championships, that's not her fault. But at the same time, if you're competing against people who are brilliant, then you're not going to look great.
But like the memes, I've seen one of
meme machine.
I've seen one of like parents saying, it was like parents telling toddlers not to touch anything in a petrol station toilet, and then there's her just like scurrying around on the floor and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
people keep on saying. People keep on saying her dance is what you would expect from a toddler, straight after them saying, "Mom, watch me."
Pretty legendary. Maybe she knew what she was doing, and she knew her routine would go viral.
Yes. But well, this is the thing.
She's put breakdancing on the map, hasn't she?
Yeah, there's bits of footage, right? And I was listening to an Australian running podcast the other day, who was interviewing one of the Olympic marathoners about his race. So Brett Robinson, who is Australia's best marathoner, got an injury running up to the Olympics and had to drop out, which is a real big shame. But his replacement which I think was Pat Buchanan, he then got interviewed by Brett Robinson's podcast. So Brett Robinson interviewed his replacement about how his Olympics went. And he said after the Olympics, one of his highlights of the Olympics was during the closing ceremony, everybody's together, all dressed in the national like clothing, all together. And he said one of his favourite bits was all of the Australian team made like a circle, and Ray Gunn got in the middle. So do you know when like they have a dance off, right? And they made a circle, and Ray Gunn got in the middle and did some breakdancing. And there's footage of this, and the breakdancing she does during that is like proper breakdancing. And what she did during the competition, it isn't anything like what she's actually capable of doing. So why she didn't do that during the competition, I don't know. So there possibly is a part of she was thinking, I'm going to make a show. I know breakdancing's never coming back to the Olympics. This is a one and done. So I'm just going to make myself famous.
Yeah. Did you, by the way, watch the closing ceremony, the whole lot of it, when it went over to America and they had like the Chili Peppers and then the Snoop Dogg? Yeah. It was really cool.
I didn't see it live, but I have watched some clips and some like highlights from it. Yeah,
it was pretty good. Yeah, I did, and I am excited for LA 28 because I think they'll put on a really good show.
Yes, yeah. It was crazy that like Tom Cruise came abseiling down from the top of the stadium and then jumped on a motorbike and took the flag with him. And yeah,
did you see the whole VT when the drone zoomed out and it was Hollywood but with the Olympic rings on the
yeah, that was cool. Yes, that was very clever. I did like that.
Yeah, so it is going to be a good Olympics, I think. But yeah. One question I touched on last week but we didn't actually get an answer to was kits. What was your verdict on the kits?
Oh, some of the Olympics was amazing. I wasn't
one clear winner. There's one clear
winner. I wasn't overly impressed by the GB kit. No. Normally, the GB kit is brilliant. The white kit that we normally have at all the Olympics is great. I really like the white, and it's really easy to spot.
Yeah,
like British athletes. But with that blue, it just sort of blended in with a lot of others because it was that dark blue.
Yeah.
Just didn't quite have the pizzazz that I wanted from the GB kit. So I was disappointed. But the Kenyan kit was pretty good. The one that what's his name? Kipchoge was wearing. That Kenyan vest was good.
Did they have two Kenyan vests?
Yes. So they had a solid orange one and then the multicolored one that Kipchoge was wearing.
I think Nike gave their athletes a choice of two for every nationality.
Wow. Do you know, I was chatting to you about this, like not on the pod. I thought America, like USA, had two different kits. They had three different kits, America.
Did they?
Yeah. So they had a solid blue. They had the one where it was the really tight pinstripes of red, white, and blue that looked purpley. Then they had a third kit as well.
The one that was red bleeding into blue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. I didn't realise that. But I remember texting you saying I'm deeply disappointed with Kenya's kit because I saw someone wearing like a solid orange or a solid, and I thought, that's not quite as cool. But then the graduated colours look really good.
Yeah, that was good. But the next level one is the one that you mentioned during the 10,000 meters, and you were like, "Man, where can I get that singlet from?"
Uganda.
Yes.
That is a piece of art. I've looked everywhere and I cannot find it. I don't think they're ever going to release it. But it's like black into orange, isn't it?
See, this is the thing. I don't think you can buy the nation's actual race kit whilst it's current. Because obviously somebody could wear it at a race.
Yes.
And it looks like they're running for that country.
Of course.
So I think you can only buy it once it's not being used by the country
once it's out of season.
Competition. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, that was good. But what I didn't like about the Nike kit is that weird square cut on the back of the singlet, how it was shaped around the back.
I
I
don't
didn't
think
like
I
that.
took much notice of the back of the singlets. Right, okay.
So,
Do you mean
so
like the actual tapering, the actual shape, or the colour block?
No, the shape of the
Oh,
cut
right,
of
okay.
the singlet, I really didn't like. It was really square and weird.
Okay.
Whereas like the Adidas singlets are curved around your back, they looked quite good, and like the Brooks ones were curved as well. And yeah, it just
I actually think some of the Puma kits were quite nice this year.
Mm.
And Puma footwear as well, especially running footwear, it seems to be everywhere at the moment. I'm seeing so. I mean, I've just bought a pair of Pumas myself, but like I'm seeing a lot of so many Puma spikes on the track. Just as maybe as many as Nike and Adidas, maybe more than Nike actually. I think Adidas was the dominant. I seem to see Adidas kit more than Nike this
what
Olympics. I think
in the Olympics, really,
on people's feet. Yeah, maybe it's more like 50-50.
As in like running shoes.
Yeah.
On spikes, man, I tell you what, during the 10,000 meters, the men's,
Was it only Nike?
It was spot the other brand, because everybody was wearing the orange dragonflies. Do you know, like the leopard print dragonflies? Because they released a special colorway for the Olympics.
Did they? Right. Okay.
So yeah, and Nike pretty much dominated the track, but then off the track, Adidas did better on the road. So in the marathons, Adidas did better.
And what's his name? Josh Kerr. Is there any other Brooks affiliated athlete in the, that's doing as well as him? I can't think there may be too many.
Not doing as well as him, but there are other elite Brooks athletes.
I don't think I saw another pair of Brooks shoes. Like, when they zoom in on shoes, like the long jump or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I saw any other shoe. I didn't even really see any Asics shoes. The only three shoes I really seemed to see was Nike, Adidas, and Puma.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, Josh Kerr, those Brooks spikes that he wears are unique to him. They are specifically made and that colorway for him. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if he's going to maybe come out with a eyewear brand one day, because I would buy them glasses if they got me PBs like him. Yeah. I do like the glasses he wears. They are pretty cool.
Yeah, because he what was I going to say?
Brooks.
The other brand that you saw quite a few of as well was On.
Yes.
Oh, and talking about them, did you see how? So there's the new On technology that they released just before the Olympics of how they're making shoes.
Is it like the laceless design?
Yes. So they're basically sprayed around a last. So how shoes are made is they have a foot shape, which is called a last, like a something to work around.
Yeah.
And then they make the shoe around that last, and they have different lasts for each size of shoe.
Like so a 3D stencil sort of thing. Yeah.
So when they're making the shoe, it's around that last of a foot.
Mm.
But On, for the Olympics, have taken particular athletes who were high up in their event and used their specific foot shape and a cast of their foot as the last for the shoe. So like Helena Beery, her marathon shoes, they were the same midsole and outer sole as the one that you'd buy off the shelf.
Yeah.
But the top was made specifically around the shape of her foot. So when she put it on, it was like a sock around her foot and fit her perfectly.
Right.
And apparently, when they come to market, the last that they use will be that person's foot. So if you're a woman and you're the same size as Helena Beery, The shoe that you will buy from On will be Hellen Obiri's foot.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
But all the spikes were made with it as well. It's such an interesting technology.
Innovative. Yeah. That new On design looks so futuristic, doesn't it? Looks like a pair of Converse or something. Like it kind of goes up the ankle a little bit, doesn't it? And yeah. But no, all in all, a good 3 weeks. I think the Olympics were pretty good. So looking forward to 2028 already, counting down the days.
I'm just trying to find a picture of the back of the Nike singlets from the Olympics. But I can't quite find them at the moment. If I find it, we'll come back to it. But we do need to go on to your running from this week.
Yeah, well, I'll try not to talk about it too in depth because we're at 1:39, which ironically is the time needed for me to run a half marathon for my new target time, my new marathon time.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we are on time for your half marathon. So maybe in your training, listen to this episode. And when we get to this point, you should have hit 13.1.
Yeah, if I haven't finished by now, then it's not on. But so I got to last Monday or Sunday and thought, I've told everyone Valencia's starting the week after, but it's not. It's this week. I looked in my diary and I'd already written in a reminder in my diary that my Valencia 16-week block started last Monday, so 7 days ago. So yeah, I've completed my first week of Valencia training, and it was largely not a lot happened. It was mainly base stuff. Nothing massively interesting happened apart from I did a race yesterday. Now, shall we do the breakdown of that on next week's podcast? Because technically we're in the future, aren't we? We should have. Should I talk about what happened yesterday? Because I did a 5K race yesterday.
So that I would save yesterday for when we record on Friday.
Okay.
But talk about your previous 5K attempt.
Yes, because where we left it was last week. I did. I was going for my little chasing 20 idea that I've got, where I really want to try and break 20 minutes for the 5K. But before I do that, I've got to get close to a PB, which for me is 20:37, which I did during my Manchester block last year. So April 2023, which I haven't managed to get. I've managed to get close to, but not, close but no cigar kind of thing. So I went down to Edgbaston last Saturday, up in Birmingham, and it's renowned for being a fast course. It's flat. It's round a lake. It's very much like Arrow Valley. It's 2 laps and attracts some quite fast people. So I went along and quickly realised that I don't know. I did a warm up and I thought something ain't right today. I just don't know what's not feeling right. And I actually got into it and very quickly realised that I was a little bit off the boil. So bear in mind, I need to hit kilometre splits to get a PB, 4:05 for a PB, which is about 6:35 as a guess, mile per mile.
Okay.
Something like that. First K, 4:10. So I'm already off the pace. Second K, 4:15. I'm bonking already. 3, 4:23. 4, 4:20. So slightly quicker on the 4th K, which I don't think has ever happened in the history of 5Ks for me. And then I finished with a slightly quicker 4:11. And so my average pace across the whole thing was 4:15, which scares the life out of me because that's where I want my half marathon average pace to be, 4:15, which is a sub-3 marathon, which is a 1:30 half. And I ended up doing it in 21:29. So I was a little bit deflated coming over the finish line, because you just know when you've seen a couple of kilometre splits or mile splits that you don't like the look of, it's sort of takes the wind out of your sails a little bit. But I very quickly got over myself, and I remembered that there's plenty more 5Ks in the sea. And I'm saying that to myself every week now. I'm just going to try and do my best, run the best that I can in the moment that I'm in. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, because progress is not linear. And I'm very quickly learning that. And I'm starting to realize, I'll tell you where I am, which is a little bit, it's just one of life's realizations when you're running. I'm starting to plateau a bit now. And I was chatting to Beardy Rich about this the other day. And he said something to me that stuck with me. And he said, he has got to a point in his running journey where gone are the days of easy gains. You can't just rock up to a race or a start line and just get a PB anymore. You have to bring effort. It's gonna hurt now. It's gonna really hurt, and you've got to change some things up. And I'm well aware of that. So I'm making a couple of changes for Valencia that I'm hope will make a difference. So then my week of training, I'll just quickly run you through what I did. By the way, I did a half marathon the day after, which I was quite pleased with, just a nice steady half. And then official training block started with an easy run just around the new local area, which is about 100 meters of elevation. It was about 400 foot, 350 foot. I did a nice easy run around there. And then Wednesday, I did a run with Daisy in the morning, and then I doubled because later on I did track on Wednesday night. And Wednesday, my lap splits the session was the same as what we did of my first ever session, which was 400s.
Yeah.
In zone 5 with a 60-second rest. Then you do an easy 400 with a 60-second rest, 4 sets of that. So look at...
I had a quick look at this. Did you mean to do 5 in your third set?
No. So I lost count again. So on my third set, I put an extra bonus one in there. That's why the blooming lights got turned off at the end of the session. When I was me and Mac were the only people on the track. Everyone else had gone home 4 minutes before us. But that's why. But I did. I was doing. We both agreed, because we both, Mac and I were both doing, or me and what is it, Mac and me?
Yeah,
we're doing this race in Worcester, which was in real life yesterday. We said, right, we've got this race Sunday. Let's not try and be heroes. Let's be,
sensible.
Let's be sensible, yeah. So the 400s we were doing, we were just aiming for sort of somewhere in between 5 and 10k pace, which we did. So for us, the target was around about 138, 140 for a 400 lap. So first set, 140, 140, 135, 137. Pleased with that. Second set, 142, 138, 138, 139. Third set, 136, 136, 136, 139, 138. That was the bonus one. So a little bit quicker on that third set.
Yeah.
And then on the fourth set, we did 143, 139, 141, and 142 to finish. So we were both quite happy with that. We both
nice.
And we both managed to maintain. I mean, if I hold up my little graph there, fairly nice, steady levels splits of effort. Yeah, and we took pretty much walking recoveries in between those hard 400s, which was quite nice. And then the easy 400 on that fifth one was the equivalent of an easy run. So that was quite a nice easy pace. Nice. And then after that, I did a hill run. So my Malvern Hill runs with Daisy are back. So me and Daisy went up to the Beacon and we did a 7 or 8k, like a 5 miler, which was again nice and easy. Got 250 meters of gain on that, which was quite good. And then did Worcester Woods Parkrun, which is back. Yes. So Worcester Woods Parkrun on Saturday. It's always been on, but because of the pummeling that the back field has taken over the years, Worcester County Council basically pulled the plug on Parkrun and said, you ain't doing this anymore because you're ruining the field. So what Worcester Woods Parkrun had to do was implement a contraflow system, which was no dogs allowed. So we just never went with Daisy because we thought we just didn't. We just did other parkruns. So it was our first time back since January or February. And they, I think dogs aren't allowed because they even did a couple of laps of the running track, so you can't take the dogs on the track, and it would have been chaos running against all that flow of traffic. But yes, they've changed the course, and it is so much better. 90% of the lap is through the woods now.
Amazing.
There's no trail or cross country bit like on the. There's no cross country bit through the fields. It's only there's a hill to start up the tarmac. And then you're basically in the woods within 2 or 3 minutes or something like that.
Brilliant.
And it's a really good course now. So I'd recommend anyone to come and try that out, the Worcester Woods Park Run, aka the Worcester Park Run. So that was good. Did that in 31 minutes. Me and Daisy did that. That was good. And then it was Sunday, which was I did a top-up run when I got back. Just did 5K of easy when I got back. And then Sunday, I did a warm-up.
Hang on. Whoa.
And then I raced, and I'm not going to talk about the actual race. And then after the race,
Friday,
I did the 5K. And then after that, I ran home because I realized I looked at my graph because training block maths is all that matters. That's all that matters at the moment. And I realized I wasn't where I needed to be. So I needed to do an extra run. So I realized the day before it was either park run and a long run on Saturday and then just do the 5K, or do the race and then add 8 mile, 9 mile afterwards. So I just basically did a couple of laps of the river in Worcester and then ran home. Nice. And it took me up to 65K for the week, which is about,
excellent.
What would you say that is, about 30 mile? No, more than that.
Slightly more than that.
35 miles, something like that. I don't know, 40. Feeling good, feeling all right. So a couple of hard efforts with the 5K and the track, but apart from that, a lot of it was easy. But no S&C yet. My excuse was because I had the race on Sunday, I didn't want to jeopardize the race by getting any unnecessary DOMs. So literally, S&C is starting today.
Okay. All right.
Today.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, so that is actually happening. But I didn't want to do any because I thought, right, I know what I'm like. I'll do some S&C, and I'll probably do it a little bit harder than I should, and it'll probably completely ruin my race that I've got. But it's starting this week, and I'm starting to eat a bit cleaner as well, and I've knocked the booze on the head again.
Good lad.
So I'm not having a drink until the 1st of December. 2024, when I'm hopefully going to be having a sangria in the sun on the finish line of Valencia.
Yeah.
So that's the plan.
Amazing.
So that's my first week.
Good work. But I'm looking forward to hearing all about yesterday's race on Friday.
Yep.
My week has been very uneventful. I did my recovery run up to the shop on Monday this week. I did park run really easy on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think I ran 21 minutes at park run. Then I did I think 13 mile on the Sunday at a steady pace. Then on Monday this week, I did my recovery run up to my shop to do some work, my recovery run back. So about 10 mile in total.
Yeah.
And then since then, I haven't run at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 6 complete days off running to try and sort out my glute and my injury issues. I just got to the point where I was fed up of running through pain. I didn't want to do it anymore. Just every run was started off horrendous and felt like, I just got fed up of that. On the Sunday long run, it took about 9 or 10 mile before it loosened up. So I had 3 miles where it was sort of better. But by that time, you don't feel great anyway by the time you've run 10 miles. So I've had this week off completely, but I'm going to try a run today. I'm going to run up to my shop like I normally do and we'll see what happens. But I am going to try out my new recovery shoes.
New shoe day.
Yeah, my Supernova Rise have now completed 500 mile. So I have replaced my Supernova Rise with a Supernova Prima. So we will see what these are like. It's a great color, isn't it? Solar red.
Yeah, you'll see people will see you coming to those country lanes, won't they?
It's like a fluorescent-y orange red color.
What's the outsole? What's the grip like on the bottom? Is it Continental?
No. So on the Supernova range, it's not Continental, and these are slightly different to the Supernova Rise as well, because there's rubber all on the forefoot and then on foot half of the midfoot. But on the rear and on the inside here is the harder midsole foam. So we'll see how they hold up and see what it's like.
Well, I guess if you're running easier in them, you're probably doing not heel striking, but less forefoot striking. So I wonder if that's the reasoning behind that. Yeah.
But we'll see. So we'll see what those are like. But yeah, I've had a very down week and obviously a weekend of trading and sitting in the sun. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Has it been nice to be away from the running shoes for a week? Have you missed it?
Yes. Yes, it's been nice, but at the same time, I've not enjoyed it very much. Yeah. Because I've got into such a routine that my head just wants to go running. But when you can't, it's difficult because your head just goes, let's go for a run. But your body can't take it at the moment. So we'll see. We'll see how it feels today, and we'll take it from there.
Well, I was going to quickly mention my new shoes.
Oh, go on then.
So since the last podcast, I've put 50k, 60k in my Pumas already, and really genuinely like them.
Oh, because when you first running them, you weren't sure about them, were you?
No, I was thinking they felt a bit clunky and a bit too padded, and they're a bit restrictive, really. But I can't see myself doing too much more. I can see them being a steady long run shoe at best.
Yeah.
By the way, they're the Puma Velocity Nitro 3.
They're not the Velocity, are they? They're the...
no, it is the Velocity. It's not the Deviate I've got. It is the Velocity.
Velocity. Yes, sorry, not the Deviate. Yes. They are the Velocity. Sorry, that's my bad.
So I don't know. They just feel. I mean, they don't feel very sprightly, if you know what I mean. Compared to when I raced yesterday in the brand new Takumi Sens, which, by the way, I've had so many compliments on. People are saying they look so sick. I don't think I've had so many compliments on my shoes ever.
They're a great pair of shoes, aren't they? They look fantastic.
We'll talk all about them because I literally have put 5k in them. So I'll talk about them next podcast. But the Pumas, so far so good. I've done a lot of easy stuff. I'm still working on that base because I'm still. It could be the title of next week's vlog, all about that base. I need to just get my base back up to where I want it to be because I'm still finding my easy runs not quite as easy as I want them to be. So that's why I think these Pumas I'm going to be wearing them a lot because I'm going to be doing running to feel quite a lot, and with all the hills around here as well, it does naturally slow me down. So I think the Pumas are going to come in handy, but I'm not going to go. I think for my long run shoe for the marathon workouts, I might even look at my Vaporflies, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Because I know a lot of people don't like to train in carbons, but I don't seem to mind it too much. But the Vaporflies, I feel like their sweet spot is marathon pace and half marathon pace. So for me anyway. So I can see myself doing my 30Ks, 35Ks or 20-mile runs in them.
Yeah.
But so far so good with the Pumas, and happy with them. Can I quickly, before we go, give a quick shout out to someone I promised I would give a shout out to?
Of course.
So last week, someone called Sean said they were doing the Solihull half marathon, and I said, all right, mate, I'll give you a shout out on the podcast. And then we started chatting about the Olympics and I forgot. So Sean Nugent, this is for you, mate. This is your moment. Did the Solihull half marathon in training for Chester. It's going to be his first, it's going to be his first ever marathon in Chester. He's feeling very nervous about it all. So he did Solihull as a warm-up and he did it in 1 hour 54, which is a very good time considering that Solihull is not the easiest of courses.
No, it's not.
So fair play, mate. And it's a summer half marathon as well, which again, a bit like Paris last week for the Olympians. It's a hard course in the hot weather. So yeah, very well done. So yeah, Sean Nugent, well done, mate. Good luck in your training towards Chester. He says we've got, he said it was a training run, so I don't think it was a PB attempt. So I think he treated it as a training run, but he's got Chester in 48 days. So good luck, Sean. And let us know for anybody that's in marathon training and what marathon you're training for.
Yeah, great work, Sean, and best of luck with your training. But do get in touch if you are marathon training, and we'll give you a shout out and some words of encouragement. So next obviously should be the Strava segment, but I realised just as we were about to start the pod that it has clicked over to Monday on Strava, and you can only see last week's leaderboard and this current week's leaderboard. So I can't see the week before's leaderboard. So we can't say who had the highest mileage or most elevation climb. So we shall have to pause the Strava segment for this week.
Yeah,
but
sorry about that.
I have just noticed that we have once again clicked over the 2 hour mark. So we should probably call it there and re-adjourn on Friday for our normal time of recording.
And just before we go, I'm genuinely interested, by the way, to how people listen to 2 hour podcasts. So let us know if you can, by email or by Instagram or YouTube comment. Do you just have it on in the background? Do you listen to it on your commute in the car to work? Do you listen to it on your long runs, on your very long runs? Do you listen to it, 10 minutes at a time over the week? I'd just be really interested to know how people are listening to this podcast.
Yeah. Or do you load it up and then look at how long it is and go, can't bother with that and just skip it until the next one?
I'll watch a 12-minute algorithm-friendly YouTube video, thanks.
But brilliant. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We will be back on Friday to record and release on our usual Saturday. Hopefully this will be out this evening and you will be able to have a listen. So thanks very much for listening and we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Take it easy, everybody.